young values. They hold on to these things, pretty closely. But I think that we've come of age. Give women a chance. There's nothing you can do about the mindset that people have that women should be in the kitchen or should be at the home front.
People like us were called. Those days hurt, Sha. But the ability to move on regardless of all those snide remarks, developing a thick skin and believing in what I can achieve through the grace that I have been blessed with by the Most High, saw me through those moments. In fact, it honestly contributed to who I have become today. I started my primary education at Yaniwura Nursery and Primary School in Ilukweju, Lagos, and then later moved to Estate Nursery and Primary School within the same Ilukweju environment. My secondary education was twofold. I started at Federal Government College, Ugwalao, where my uncle was the principal. And when he was transferred to Federal Government College, Sokoto, I naturally followed him to Sokoto, of course, to continue my secondary education. Such was the trust parents had on guardians in those days. The need to monitor a child and ensure that he or she was under a very strict control and tutelage of a mentor was considered essential for the moral and academic growth of such a child. Oh man, Sokoto taught me about being human. You may wish to ask, what does that mean? It meant that was where I learned that everyone was first human being before his tribe and ethnic learnings. At Federal Government College, Sokoto, we did not have or understand the divide of tribes or thongs. School then were not only about academics, but they were out to develop character as well. And that's what truly being educated is all about. We all grew up together, and today, quite a number of us are still friends, regardless of whatever situation or conditions we are presently in. Today, I am pretty much a people's person. All that matters to me about you as an individual, first and foremost, is the chemistry, not where you come from. And all this is, I believe, thanks to my orientation. Oh, testing times two. I mean, when a growing child will always be a child. Yes, I remember the story of caustic soda. Ha! In those days, I think my mom used it to wash the bathroom. It was a plastic beverage container kept away from peering eyes. One day, she sent me to get something from her room and I saw the container. I opened it and saw this sugar-looking substance and wondered why she kept it in her room. And guess what? I licked it and that was it. I started foaming. I ran into the sitting room and everyone went berserk, confused and scared. My mom lifted me and started running towards the hospital. I was rushed to the hospital where I was stabilized and brought home. On a good day, after all the drama, I would have still been beaten. But I think they believed I was traumatized enough, and she looked me in the eye and said, "That's what happens to thieves." No amount of beating could have shamed me like that, man. That was it. The tendency to steal perished forever in me. Ha! The first time my dad slapped me will be a story for another day. It was clear in my head, the biblical dictate of spare the rod and spoil the child. Over and over, my father would say that he had no inheritance he was leaving for any child. His greatest legacy to all of us, according to him, would be our education. So whatever he wanted to study, he was willing and ready to make it happen. Strangely, Dad's fame as an actor of repute wasn't something we thought about. I mean, it was just work as far as we knew. The only times it became a subject of discussion were when people saw you with him or found out he's your father and wanted to know what life is like living with him, or if he actually didn't have hands, based on his character in the famous Village Headmaster serial. Ha ha ha! Quite nostalgic. I recall how being his daughter impacted on me when I proceeded to Obafemi Awolowo University, Great Ife, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in arts from the Department of Dramatic Art. I had a lecturer who scored me rather low because he felt and actually knew I could do better. And he said to me, "To whom much is given, much is expected." That was a turning point of sorts in my academic. In those good old days, we were built to be resilient. We pushed on basically because we wanted to make our parents and ourselves proud. In the hierarchy of values, we were taught that honesty and integrity reign supreme. And I am very proud and thankful for these orientations and training. So what went wrong? Is it the same today as yesterday? I doubt. Is the situation hopeless? Certainly not. Is it possible to change the narrative? Absolutely yes. Like the lights that cannot be hidden under a bushel, like the faith as a mustard seed, I believe the glory of Nigeria will shine and we shall blossom again if we begin to plant into the hearts and minds of people these time-tested values of truth, honesty, integrity, and sincerity of purpose. Personally, I don't think the challenge is solely upon today's youth. It's our inability to create the right mentorship programs. The youths tend to emulate what they see around them. So if change must come, if tomorrow must be brighter, then the right attitude and values must be reenacted today. The onus lies on each one of us to keep showcasing those things that we want emulated. Change can and will happen through a collective will and joint resolve to make it happen. Change begins with each and every one of us standing together in truth and believing that truly we can make the difference. We all deserve a better Nigeria, better than those glorious days we speak about today. To this end, I join Sir Shemore Badejo in this collective desire to have a brighter future for not only our children, but for us too. God bless Nigeria. God bless all of us.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Musayuame Saleh, and today my Monday tonics are with me. Hello, Chinalo and Diola.
Hello,
Your Monday. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
How are you doing? How was your weekend? Bogboero. Honestly, I don't know. I was not in the mood to leave my house this weekend. Like literally, I was home. I didn't go nowhere. I was not just in the mood. You know how you're just not in the mood.
Well, I wasn't in the mood either, but then I just had to be out. From Friday, I had a 40th birthday party to attend. Saturday, I was out and about. Sunday, church.
And I hear our governor was shaking hands. So it was your church. I was wondering what church was it. Governor Sanwo-Olu was shaking hands. I said, well, that's innovative. I actually like the idea of...
Now it's nobody's birthright.
It's not your birthright. You know, everybody do the work.
Exactly.
You will end the position. I mean, like, he's really putting in the work.
He is.
Now, I heard today he sent letters to the entire residents of Oniru.
Yeah.
Then
really? Personal letters. Yeah, they received personal letters today.
Wow.
Then he's been visiting different churches and all of that. I said, wow.
And making ice cream.
How do they say it?
Well done.
No, how do they say, like, may your this thing be rewarded or something?
May your labor.
In Yoruba.
How do you say in Yoruba? Jola.
Jola left.
I left the room.
But I mean, so it was your church. I didn't know. Chinelo, go ahead.
I wasn't there because that's not the church I went to on Sunday. I went to another church. So I just saw the messages and then I saw it on Instagram. I'm like, oh, okay. He was actually there. And it was right in front where you usually have the church greeters. So now the church has even moved to a different, location now. And he was just there saying hi to everybody, smiling at people. And what the church greeters would normally do was what Governor Sanwo-Olu was. It was beautiful to see anyway. True. We look forward to more of that.
After the elections. It's not now.
He will come and say thank you.
I want governance that is to, like, you understand, shows love. So you don't have to wait for an election season. See, let me tell you something. Let's wait. It's our conversation.
That is what we're talking about today. So
how are you, Diola? How was your weekend?
Oh, okay.
But it was restful. It was, it was okay. And I wasn't exactly looking forward to the week. I mean, it's all the same drama. It's exhausting. It's draining. The weather is not friendly. You know, you just want to crawl in your bed and just be and just keep drinking water. Really.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
You're inside the house, you're spending money. You're outside the house, you're spending money. So, God help us.
Amen.
The prayer is for our streams of income to be increased.
To be increased.
All right, so today we're discussing the gubernatorial race, right? And here's what we found as today's quote. Every citizen of this country should be guaranteed that their votes matter, that their vote is counted, and that in the voting booth, their vote has a much weight as that of any CEO, any member of Congress, or any president. I mean, this is very powerful, right? So as we all know, the gubernatorial election was extended by one more week, as announced by INEC, and as disappointing as the postponement of the governorship elections may seem, given the preparedness of Nigerians to cast their vote, the rescheduling of the elections from March 11 to March 18, 2023 would only give us more room to sensitize ourselves and prepare to cast our votes come March 18. And today we have Dan the Humorous. He'll be joining us to discuss the gubernatorial race. We'll do all of that first. Let's go on a break. When we come back from the break, we'll see what we found in the news. All right, you are still watching Ways, and Commonwealth Day 2023 also marks the 10th anniversary of the signing of the Commonwealth Charter, which was signed by Her late Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on March 11, 2013. The Commonwealth flag for peace features a white dove of peace in the bottom right-hand corner of the Commonwealth flag, symbolizing the shared values and principle of the Commonwealth, including cooperation on the economic and social development, diversity, respect, friendship, and promotion of peace around the world. So, happy Commonwealth Day.
Happy Commonwealth
What are the benefits
Day.
of being part of the Commonwealth? Okay. the way Diolate do.
I don't know. I mean, well, maybe I don't know is not the right thing. I don't see it.
Really?
Oh, okay, maybe. I mean, if you want to go very professional or very patriotic, and they will say, okay, all the bilateral trades and all that. But I mean, to the average person on the street, I don't see it.
So you don't think there's peace?
Well, there is peace. I mean, if you put it like that, there is peace, and there is peace
Well, for me,
within the Commonwealth.
yeah, I think the Commonwealth nations are actually trying, to be honest, right? Because they're beginning to now embrace that whole diversity. Everybody's looking at each other and willing to have, do business in quotes, have people in their countries study and things like that. So,
Is it
in
free?
that light, well, it's not free.
Well, that's another dimension.
Okay, so what did we find in the news?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so man laments shredded old Naira notes in viral video. I think we have this video to play. A yet to be identified man has lamented the heap of shredded old Naira notes amidst the Naira scarcity in the country. In the video shared on social media today, the voice behind the camera was
just reasonable.
how old Naira notes are shredded and disposed of. And he spoke in pidgin English. He said, if you look closer, you will go see say na money, them grind money, see money, all this one na money, then grind down.
You. You.
And here I am,
This makes
looking
me
for
so
200
sad.
naira to buy a bottle of water when I'm outside.
This just
And
okay.
look
So,
at this.
did an individual do this?
I mean, I
or
have many questions. Because where is this?
where is
starting?
this place? First of all,
I wish he went ahead to tell us.
Because
where
I
this
have a
happened.
feeling that the CBN, right? What would they do with the old Naira
Old
notes?
They're gonna
if they
dispose
don't if they don't shred it? They will destroy it
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we need to know first of all where this site is located.
yeah.
Yes.
And again,
We need to
This
also
is a
know,
lot
is this
of
Nigeria?
money. Wow. A lot of money. A lot of money. And here we are crying, looking for cash here and there.
I can imagine. We'll have to find where the source of this is. Then we can then tell maybe it was a government authority that, because again, I mean, all the notes that they are collecting, definitely they're supposed to dispose of it. I don't know if you ever watched that movie that three women working in like something that's like the CBN, where they were stealing the old damaged notes. I can't remember the name of that movie. It was such a beautiful movie to watch. How they were moving the money. I think Queen Latifah was one of them. I need to find the name of that movie. It's an old movie. An old movie. All right, so what do you find for us, Diola?
Okay, so this headline is CBN has directed banks to dispense old Naira notes, says Soludo. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo said the Central Bank of Nigeria has directed banks to dispense old Naira notes. Soludo said CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele made the disclosure to him in a phone conversation on Sunday night. Commercial banks have been directed by the CBN to dispense old currency notes and also receive same as deposits from customers. Tellers at the commercial banks are to generate the codes for deposits, and there is no limit to the number of times an individual or company can make deposit. So, I mean, this for me is just all shades of, there are no words for this, because, I mean, you're saying that if this is by the central bank, I mean, I would expect that their corporate communications department should have done a press release. I mean, in considering the agitation in the country, considering that there's a lot of news flying up and down, you don't know what is real, what is not real, you know, you would want to make sure that the people are hearing directly from you. So you have a communique, a press conference, do it loud, so it is clear to everyone. So we have a situation where somebody is saying this, another person is saying that, and you can't even verify the authenticity of it, you know. So again, I mean, last week I was speaking to a couple of people, and even up till this morning, they were very emphatic on the fact that they were not going to trade on old notes. They would not collect it. They would not spend it. So you have governors writing. I saw a press release or a letter by Governor Sanwo-Olu just before I came in now, that said that people should transact business. People should go about their daily business using 200, 500, 1,000 old notes. You know. So again, governors are. It is almost as if they are all trying to be. I don't know. Is it nice? Is it politically correct? I don't even know what is going on. You know, so so what happens if this story or this is not even, if CBN is still adamant on the fact that
that's why I said I'm curious to know where Chinelo's story is linked to, because if Chinelo's story is linked to that, it is, so for instance, the only person that has the audacity to do this would be probably like a CBN. So if that money is being shredded, they have no plans to take the money back. So, and again, I think Emefiele and the CBN, they should go on their official handle, Twitter, their website, post it and say this is what it is, because there's so much confusion.
So much.
That's why Abiodun today was giving ultimatum. Sanwo-Olu has given ultimatum. Everybody has collected. Now someone was telling me that they actually went to the bank. They said no problem, they will give you old Naira note, but you cannot return it back to the bank. You know, and so I mean, it's a bit tricky because now you are living. You know, they say when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. Citizens are the ones suffering now with this tug of war of who will. Let me see who will laugh last. You understand, between CBN and the Supreme Court and the governors, right? It is the people that are suffering because we don't even know what's happening anymore, right? So how do we even verify what to do? Because we're at loss. We don't know what to do. You know, but on the flip side. On the flip side, the queues in supermarkets are getting longer.
Oh, yeah.
But guess what? Market women are suffering. Someone sent me a picture of a poultry. The entire, what's it called? Production, because the transactions that they deal with, they deal in cash. But I'm just wondering, is a company, why can't you do transfers, right? You know, the other lady, there was a video of a woman, I think, selling plantain or something, that everything was just complete. I mean, people are actually suffering. The people that deal with cash
they are
trade,
suffering.
You know, it's sad.
They are. Because okay, so someone was saying to me that I also raised this question. I mean, what is the issue? You have a bank account, you can transfer, and she said that so it's easy for her to transfer, but the people she's transferring to, they don't do that kind of, they're rural people because it's a farm and they're very small scale.
So that's why I'm saying to you that, because the poultry picture that I saw, this is a big, huge farm. I'm saying to you that, see, there's a downside to all of this. There's no doubt. But you see, even in the sense of it, because I have been in business for a very long time, and I know that part of what helped me to be able to get access to some of the fundings and all of that is because my transactions are documented through a bank statement. You understand? Yeah. Most of these people, they deal in a lot of transactions, but when it comes to
documentation,
time to upscale their businesses, they can't upscale because they don't have a transaction history. So I think this is just a time to rethink. It's tough. There's no doubt about it. What I even think is people are even suffering from more is, and I wish that I can ask Sanwo-Olu, how does he plan to what's it called? How does he plan to incorporate this cowrie system that he's doing for the trains to the buses? Okay. Do you understand? So the way you have your Oyster card, I had not been to the UK in like 7 years or how many years. I went, my card was working. I just went, I just topped it up, and I was able to go to everywhere I was going to. I mean, that's how the cowrie card should be. Do you get? So it's not just enough for us to use it for fancy trains and all of that. Let us be able to transact with the cowrie with our downfall buses. And guess what? It just helps to reduce a lot of you know, all the fight, all the whatever and all of it reduces it.
It even removes the agbero.
It removes it. It just removes all those things. So if you know that you are paying taxes already to be deducted from source, then they can even trap their tax more. All the traffic that we have on the roads, we need to get those people off the road.
And their data, you know, I mean, this is just data.
All
this is, you know.
So my story is actually very interesting. Very interesting. I said, wow, this is not a funny thing. So they said about another 25 Nigerian nurses face forgery charges in the US. So according to the report, that following a very high-end investigation that the Texas Board of Nursing in the United States had announced that it had charged no fewer than 75 nurses to court over issues bordering around falsification of certificates, that on the list, right, posted on the website of the board, at least 43 of those names were identified nurses of Nigerian descent or Nigerian origin. Do you understand? Yeah. And they had reported that 18 Nigerian nurses in the US were charged with certificate forgery. So, I mean, you see all of these things that people are doing. The reason I'm taking this story, because I know that they say, my aunt was, I have a lot of people in the nursing, and my aunt, she was a nurse, God bless her soul, until she passed. Part of what they actually look for, one of our best products outside of Nigeria are Nigerian trained nurses. Yeah. So it is. So I don't understand why. And the cost to go and get your nursing certificate is not a big deal. Do you understand? So the cost is not a big deal. Why? Because I remember she even started very late. She had finished, like, she didn't know what to do with her life. She was in her late 20s. She didn't know, and she just took a course in nursing, and she relocated. She married and relocated and she was doing well before she passed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, nursing is one of the easiest things to get. So why do we have to get to that point where we are forging certificates to go and work? Is it that we think that we can get away with some things?
We like shortcuts.
Okay.
We like shortcuts.
On that note, if they catch you
on your own.
You're on your own. We'll take a break now. When we come back from the break, let's discuss the gubernatorial race. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, right? No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild.
This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
All right, thanks for staying with us now. The 2023 Nigerian gubernatorial election will be held for state governors in 31 out of 36 Nigerian states. All but 3 elections will be held on the 18th of March, concurrent with elections to every state house of assembly. Now, according to a news source, the postponement followed a ruling by the Court of Appeal in Abuja, sitting as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, granting the Independent National Electoral Commission the right to reconfigure the bimodal voters accreditation system as the BVAS machine, and the commission's statement that it will need 5 working days to reconfigure the BVAS used in the 176,974 polling units where voting will take place for the elections. Now, the development provides perhaps a rare chance and privilege for INEC to execute a credible election that will be acceptable to majority of Nigerians and the international community. This time around, Nigerians expect nothing short of a free and fair election, and we're asking, who is your candidate of choice and why do you believe that they can do the job? And as we discuss the gubernatorial race, you know what we're going to do because of our guests? We're going to focus on 2 states, Lagos and Rivers states, so that we don't talk too much. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa 1 with the hashtag Wayshow. All right, so who is your guy? So I think, and I've said this thing several times, right? And I like the idea of what is happening in Lagos State. I think for the very first time, I believe that there's truly a race. There's truly a competition, right? It's been like in the past, Jimmy Agbaje would just sleep, wake up 4 years after.
And we see him everywhere.
Then he goes back to sleep after 4 years. But for the first time, you know, given the work that what's his name? The Mr. Governor Sanwo-Olu has been going round sending letters and all that. I said, okay, somebody is actually. I actually like the excitement about what's happening with the gubernatorial race. Again, and this is the coming off of the back of what happened in the presidential race, where people actually saw the number of young people coming out, first-time voters. A lot of people stayed. You know, there was just so much energy around. You know, the elections, and you know, it's now like, you know, what's it called, rubbing off on the governorship race, and that's why you can see, you know, a lot of what's it called, work going, you know, visitation, handshake at the church, you know, and all of that. But hey, that's my thoughts. Let me hear your thoughts, Diola. And
well, I mean, like you said, I really like what's going on. I like the hard work they have to put in. I like the fact that now it's not business as usual. Now, again, there is the humane side of them that we're seeing, you know, and like, you know, this popular thing all over social media now, the elections make you it makes you humble, you know. So you actually connect with the people, you know, people who have never seen, you know, had there any opportunity to even get involved in politics. Now they're beginning to say that, oh, did you do this? People are raising concerns. There are issue-based.
And now there's a train wreck. Everybody's visiting.
you know.
There's just a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. That's cause for excitement, really.
Actually, how about you, Chinelo? What do you
What
think?
more is there to say? What more is there to say? I remember I said this thing the very first time. I was like, I love the pressure that everybody's feeling now, right? So it's not, and now the counterfeit of what people are saying that is just Governor Sanwo-Olu and then Jerry. There's full show today. Have you read that man's biodata? He actually has something to offer. So it's not
the Dorothy man.
So it's not
but
just
the issue with the other candidates is that the pressure is not as much on with them because of, you know, see, it's still the Peter Obi effect that is, you know, that people are just, I mean, there was a governorship candidate that moved to Labour Party in Delta State. What's his name? I forget his name now. I'll recall his name, right? I mean, he's now the Labour Party candidate for governor. Normally, that thing would not have happened.
It won't happen, yes.
But the reason he has the boldness to be able to move, you know, at dying minutes is because, you know, of the Peter Obi effect, you know. But let me bring in our guest, right? Daniel Chibuzo Walker, popularly known as Dan the Humorous, is a stand-up comedian, an actor, and a political satirist. Now, he is also an on-air personality, an entertainment strategist, and an idea generator. He's also a friend of the house, and he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you, and good evening, fine ladies. Oh, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, so Dan, I mean, we've been talking, and I see you smiling and laughing. But hey, me, I like the drama that's happening. You know, me, I'm here for the drama. You know, I like the idea that the political season for the 2023 general elections is not business as usual. Every political party now sees the need to want to be empathetic, to be more connecting with the people, because again, it's like, you know what? Please, my re-election is in your hands, or my election is in your hands, and all of that. So we actually see, and we now see the human side of most of the political parties. Now, let me even bring it out, especially in Lagos, because now Lagos concern me. You know, prior to the elections, I remember that I was privy to a few governorship debates that were being organized, you know, and, you know, it seemed like, okay, power of incumbency and all of that, you know. But hey, the governor has come out to give to give his reasons why he did not appear in any of the no, go and ask me. But I'm saying to you that, you know, it just seemed like, okay, I have this in the bag. Until the February
woke up and smelled
February 25th happened, and I don't got it in the bag. So now it's almost like every single day, door to door. I mean, a friend of mine told me that the governor's wife was in her estate knocking on each door. Even when we reached out to a few political people running re-elections, House of Assembly and all of, most of them say, I can't come for any TV appearance right now. I'm going to door, I'm knocking and all of that. So, I mean, we see that happening. And it just tells me, okay, now, okay, maybe truly we have a race, we have an election. In the past, it's just been, okay, you know, pretend like you're there, but you're not there. But now there's somebody actually giving everybody a run for their money. And I mean, we all can tell that it's the Labour Party candidate. But let me hear your thoughts on the gubernatorial race, how you're viewing it, and how things are, how you're stewing it.
Well, you've, excuse me, you've made quite, I mean, you've really said a whole lot, you know, about the whole situation. For the first time in a very long time, particularly in a state like Lagos, you're seeing an actual competition between not one party or two persons, but I mean, I see it as even a party of three persons, because prior to February 25th, Jandor had quite some momentum, you know, and he was all over in the news and all of that, you know. And then we see the GRV effect, and of course, you know, Funsho Doherty as well, even Hakeem Dixon of Accord, are also not people that you can push over necessarily. But then when you look at those who have the local spread across the wards and the units and all of that, it probably boils down to three. So it is beautiful. And this is because, in fact, the whole Peter Obi business and everything is because the reality of Nigeria's situation has hit the middle class. And it has hit the middle class real hard. Before now, you had the very rich and the very poor in their extreme conditions. And then you had the guys in the middle. So, for example, when you have those who take minimum wage, you have those who take maximum wage in billions and hundreds of millions. Then you have us who are in the medium wage, people who their maybe monthly pays between, say, 300,000 to $1 million, which was seemingly comfortable for them. All of a sudden, 1 million is not 1 million naira anymore. And then we begin to ask questions, what's going on? And then you now have people like Peter Obi and co. now speaking to those pains, right? And that is basically what we've seen play out. And I would say that for the governor of Lagos, I think personally, I feel like his PR people are really doing him more damage than good. Because see, you are, even though you're going into an election, you are the governor. You still occupy that number one office. That office comes with a lot of prestige. It comes with a lot of, you know, statesmanship. It comes with a lot of, how will I even say, like, you know, it's a big office.
I beg to disagree.
So, no, I'm coming. So, you don't do something that is out of your element. You don't do something that you normally do. If before now, in the last 3-4 years, he used to come to every church, he used to be at the malls, he used to do this and that, who can say, but we know that you've not been around. Let's even say you were busy with the presidential. It's not in your character that we know for you to appear in the malls holding ice cream. It's not in your character that the few church programs, I mean, they just did City of David building some weeks ago where he attended. He was there as a guest of honor with the vice president and Daddy Gio. You didn't see him at the back of church telling members bye-bye. You didn't see him in Ebuka's church dancing Chineke Nemema. You haven't seen him in Computer Village before, or all those places. So once you go, I felt that for a governor, you've had the opportunity to work for 4 years. All you needed to have done, or all you need to do, is remind the people. The people are angry. Oh, yes, but remind them, remind those demographics that, look, I've been here for 4 years, I did this. If you give me another chance, I'll make it better by doing this. Because, I mean, we are, how will I put it now? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, in fact, a month to election, people have already made up their minds.
So
there is nothing you can do to sway.
Let me explain something. Does this show to you that it seems, because this is the allegation, it's not me that said it, but they come for me. The allegation is that because there is no work, right? Maybe that's why this... There's
no work.
Yeah, because you said something now. You're the sitting governor. All you need to do is remind the people of the work you've done over the years. What if there was no work that was done?
Then I can't help you.
Let's take a break. Daniel is trying to run away. We'll catch him back. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us now. If you just tuned in, we're discussing the gubernatorial race, right? And we have with us Dan the Humorous. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. Now, the reason I asked that question, or why I posed that to you, you know, because again, like you rightly said, I think the media team, for most of these people in government, not even just only Governor Sanwo-Olu, I don't think they do a fantastic job because, again, There are laudable projects that have been done, but it seems like nobody really pays attention. Again, so it's actually it's a hydra-headed problem. You know why? So you can do this fantastic grand project. If it is not hitting the people that need it, like if they are not feeling it. Because I remember clearly that when Governor Fashola, you remember after his first term, when something wanted to happen, that they now told him, oh boy, arrange yourself, because if you don't arrange yourself, if this man decides to go to a different political party, you are going to lose the state. So they had to, because why? The people were with Fashola.
Absolutely.
Because they felt his governance, they felt his work.
True that.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So is it a problem of him not working, or the people, or maybe he's doing the work that is not really impacting on the people?
It's clearly, obviously, I think the way it's looking now, because, I mean, we follow the news every day. We see him do one thing or the other. We see him go to one place or the other. But with all that is happening now, it feels like, were we building castles in the air? Were we just doing things that were not really meeting the needs directly of the common man, as we put it? Because again, like, if I have the opportunity, I would tell them the people that are thinking for you are a total PR disaster. You don't do this when it is not. See, you don't go out of your element. For election cycle, the first, say, 1, 2, maybe 3 months at the start of the whistle is when you have the opportunity to, sway opinions, move people to your side. When Trump said it, people thought he was joking. He said, look, I can shoot somebody now, you still vote for me, because at that time, people's minds have been made, and it doesn't matter what you do, good or bad. Some of them, if you even bring out your favorite candidates today, and you hear the war story about them, the next thing you hear is even though. Is it the first? Is it the first? Now just small drink, leave them. You understand?
You know, keep person.
You know, keep person. Even if you keep person, they'll say, what did that person do? Where you kill him. But the thing is, so I would advise the governor, free of charge, sir, take free PR. Remind the people of your works. You've had because that's the power of incumbency they talk about. People think the power of incumbency is that you have state structure, you have police, you have this. No, you have other people are coming with, I want to.
You have
I will. You are coming with, I have. So that alone is an advantage. So when you are not looking into that and you are doing all kinds of things, then we have a problem in our hands.
Okay, so I have a school of thought, and it is that, like you said, that this is something he doesn't do, like it's out of his element.
Yep.
But again, I mean, religion is a powerful weapon in politics in Nigeria. You can't discard that. And it is a popular thing, whether right or wrong, that these people who are seeking for office, whether, as an incumbent or a new person, would go to these religious houses. They literally beg to be endorsed by the religious, leaders.
Yeah.
It is almost like a given, because that is Nigeria. That plays a powerful role in how people decide who to vote for, and in choosing their candidates. So maybe he's towing that line, and also again reminding people that, hey, I'm a Christian. It's a weapon.
Yeah, but I'm
willing to use it.
You have to toe a line that is natural with you.
Well, I think it's
because what happens,
why I say so,
to shake people for door.
No, Dan. No,
it is the shaking of the door. It's not the attending of the church. Like, for example, let me even go back to Peter Obi. So, years before now, the Catholic people on the island here do unusual praise. Peter Obi is a regular attendee.
Yes, steady.
A couple of times he has been at the experience. So, and of course, at the electioneering season, you see him in a lot more. But you already know that he comes around this spot, right? So, when you do, of course, I mean, His Excellency Awolu is an MFM, man. He goes to one
I thought he was with him.
No, I hear it's MFM.
Okay.
Okay, let's say anyone. His church is, okay, for example, let's even say Professor Shibajo, right? Professor Shibajo, active pastor in RCCG. So when he was made running mate, you didn't have to talk too much about, he's a pastor or he's not, because people know, even my younger sisters, told me, this man had even given me communion before at Holy Ghost, this thing. You get, everybody can relate. So when they know that, for example, you know that every December, maybe for somewhere like me, every December, I'm in one carnival or the other. I'm in one, Anambra, I'm just having a good time. And then because I'm running an election, you see me in Shiloh. When the last time, personally, Dan, speaking to you, the last time I went to Shiloh is in 2001. So I will not now, I will see, you see that my carnival base that I've been with all year, I will galvanize the best of it. We just
consider you as an embattled member.
What I can now do is I will have my surrogates who vibe within that circle, that they respect their opinions and everything, to speak for me. There. But when you go, when last you see him for church? And the same thing to the guy who goes to church. When you now see him in carnival, this thing.
I think, you know why I say that I beg to differ. Sorry, Chinelo, I know you want to come in. I think it is in Governor Sanwo-Olu's, because I've studied him quite a bit, just a little bit, right? When the NSAS thing happened, you could tell, I think it's his response. That is his natural response to maybe anxiety. He's anxious, right? There's a lot going on. Somebody's putting him on his toes, right? So I think it's his natural response to anxiety. Yes, because again, remember when the NSAS thing happened, he was like that. He was, trying. So I think he's a good man. He's a good man, yeah. The
management, they are not managing him.
Yeah, but hey, trust me, right? Whether we like it or not, that strategy is going to work. Because now, people that have not probably seen his wife or seen him in a while, and there's just that thing that he does.
If I tell you that it will not work, will you believe?
I don't know about you.
Those who have made up their mind have made up their minds.
That's true.
Because the estate he went to be knocking door is where they were living before going to government house.
Yes.
So again, you ask yourself, so I will go back to Oshibajo. I was told that where he lives or was living before becoming VP, he still attends estate meeting.
Wow.
As VP. So if he was at the top of the ticket today and he's talking to his neighbors,
they will listen.
So that door we are going to knock in the estate, we will not go and ask, since they went to Marina House, what is it called? Have they been connecting with estate people? If not, estate people will open your door, shake your hand, and tell you bye-bye. When you lock and they do, you understand?
People I get that.
Yeah, you come to church, people will clap for you. People will take selfie with you. Have you ever been near a governor before? They will take selfie with you. They will not insult you. I mean, a governor is here. We are happy, but voting wise, when they are between them and that ballot paper, are you sure that whole communication will convert to them pressing your logo?
I mean, that's what I was just going to say. So you see, like you rightly said, he's always been that man that would go to visit. Even when he was campaigning for governor in the first place, he was in the hairdressing salon, right? We saw that pic.
After then, he did go again.
So that's the thing. It now felt like there was a disconnect.
Just use me and dump me.
So that's what I think that's where people's grievances are actually
it's not only
from.
Unique to Sanwo-Olu.
Yeah.
I mean,
all of them.
I love them.
But you see, the problem is that
people eating bole.
You were quiet. You were quiet for so long, and then just 1 week before now, that's what people are saying.
Not even
you are now waking up and
not even last
you are going back to back, and then you are giving us good evening, people of Lagos, good morning, dear Lagosians, good afternoon. So everybody's like, why did it have to take you this long? It means that you were just extremely comfortable that this thing is mine, it's going to come back to me. But guy, it doesn't work like that, right? You have to get back to
I mean,
work.
you're all ladies here, and I'm sure you've had masculine relationships at one point or the other, even presently. Haven't there been sometimes that your man does something is just too good? And you're like,
what do you want?
Hold on. What have you done? What are you about to confess?
What do you want?
Sometimes he has done something bad. Before you go hear the story, take this, take that, take this. Like, okay, fine. I'm forgiving you in advance. What did you do? Because this is just too much right now. So I mean, that's why if, for example, you see somebody like Wike now, Wike is always dancing. Wike is always singing Yendeba, Yendeba. So if he starts doing it in campaigns,
it's natural to him. So let's move to River State, because Wike calls conferences like pure water. I don't understand. Any small thing he has called the press.
When you have good resources.
So tell us what is happening in River State, honestly. Because I mean in Delta, what's his name?
Omar Agege.
Omar Agege is
Yes.
the one that has moved to Labour Party.
No, Omar Agege is of the APC. You have Kempela.
Who is in
Kempela is in Labour.
Okay.
Then the perpetual contestant, Great Oboru, is in Abga. And then people are saying, oh, and you were in Labour the other time. Why did you just stay? So it's not just in Lagos. We are going to see competition in
everywhere.
Some states where you have traditional voting. Akwa Ibom, I can't even imagine what will happen. I have my eyes on Akwa Ibom. The APC is strong. The PDP is strong. The Labour, they are pushing. The YPP, that YPP man is one not to be messed with. You know, it's going to be in Rivers State. It's also going to be very so. Rivers State now. This is it. We had Wike. First of all, Wike rode into power based on Amechi did this and that. He became governor, and then he again PR management, excellent job. They were able to magnify, make little things very big, and then they said, okay, they are going to have his candidate, relatively unknown man, civil servant all his life. And then February 25th happened. People saw their will subverted right in front of their eyes. I mean, you heard it, Peter Obi, on another TV station this morning saying, the governor worked against me. What that caused is that the obedience in Rivers State now got angry.
And it's revenge vote.
In fact, some people are saying, since you say APC, want to obey you to the end. So this morning on social media, when Peter Obi's video was posted, when he said, I got 50-something%, some people were commenting, okay, why are you rigging your own election with your mouth? You got 99%, So you see a lot of revenge voting. Now, the issue now is they are placed within APC, Tony Cole, Beatrice Itubo of Labour. You have Dumo, strong guy from a great family as well, of Accord. You have Senator Magnus Abe of the SDP. At least these are the major people against the PDP SIM. That they do not know, they have not heard a candidate running for governor that has not gone for one radio interview. Not one, not even this.
Because again, he believes
that, but it's not done that way. Other states, the outgoing governors are practically installing them, but you're seeing them coming out. But you see the PDP campaign in Rivers State, the governor still has the last say. When you watch the news coverage, they mention the candidate in passing and put the headline or the caption on what the governor said or didn't say on that particular rally. So you have that. So Beatrice Itubo now, they are now looking, okay, the whole Labour vibe and all of that. But then again, that's another civil servant, former NLC chairman. So all of them, Toyeko stands out based on his global exposure.
And his pedigree.
Exactly. His global exposure, his national
and he also has those celebrities in Port Harcourt trying to work for him.
And to his credit, he is the only candidate amongst all of them that has gone around the 319 wards. Not 23 local governments, 319 wards.
Wow.
Talking with the market people and everything. He's
done the work.
Yeah,
but do you think that the APC the APC will be his undoing? So for instance, what happened with Banky W
Now that is another dicey thing. So a lot of people are saying, this guy is fantastic, but wrong party. And we are saying to them that I don't understand.
I thought we were putting individuals.
Because are you telling me that you would have, if all the things you heard from Peter Obi, let's say he moved to the APC, last minute contested primaries and won Bola Tinubu and everything, you say, this nice guy that doesn't wear shoe and doesn't wear watch but is in APC. No, you believe, because if you know the amount, are you not seeing all the corruption cases we are seeing in Labour Party? Are you not seeing, did you not hear that the Labour Party Rivers State chairman, after all the drama he did at the Collation Center, woke up one morning and said they are supporting the PDP and all of that. So some of them have been candidates before Peter came. So how are you sure that they will even keep up to the ideals of Peter? So I tell them that, why are we doing ourselves this thing? You're seeing something that is good or not good in your eye, and you want to just do the other one.
Just because
they say bite the nose to spite the face or something like that. Because political parties in Nigeria are basically vehicles. Nothing but vehicles. It's not like Republicans that you say this one believe in abortion. This one
No,
believe in
this our political parties don't have ideologies.
Exactly.
Anywhere that is more that I stand the chance to win is where I
so
go
I tell
to.
them that if you have somebody that you know that he will do the work, please by all means do it.
I'm just hoping that the APC, what's it called, the revenge against the APC will not affect.
No, the revenge is against the PDP in Rivers State.
No. There's a global revenge against the APC.
Yeah, no. So, but it locally,
locally,
yeah,
so it's against Wike.
Yeah. So the thinking is this, and it's funny because so in 2015, so it's like we see history repeating itself. 3 things I'll say real quick. So in 2015, Governor Mechi moved to the APC. He was expelled out of PDP. He moved to the APC. He was DG and everything. The understanding in town or in the whole state was, oh, we will vote our brother. Good luck. But this governorship, Ikore man cannot take over from Ikore man. So we will vote for Peter's side. And then Buhari won election. And the narrative changed. You know, the political propaganda system, as you say, within PDP, Wike. Oh, it is our brother Mechi that led the charge to dislodge Good Luck. Our brother destroyed our brother. So the revenge voting
happened,
came.
yes.
Say, oh, since you led the charge to dislodge our brother, your brother too will dislodge him. Let Ikore take over from Ikore, nothing will happen. Here we are. Today, we see a man. There was an understanding in town again that, we are all obedient. I mean, my unit, PDP, APC, party agents put in their tag inside their
They were hiding it.
And came to vote. When they are counting the vote in my unit, Labour, when they bring out PDP, the same PDP will shout, who be that now? Who be that? You get? And so there was an understanding in town that, presidency, obedient way. In fact, in my unit, they'll tell you all of us were obedient today. In 2 weeks, our quarter will start. So the understanding was, okay, then we will reward Wike with whoever he wants to put
as
there.
PDP candidate.
Then the next
but
thing,
now
they now started to see America wonder. APC is winning presidency, but PDP is winning National Assembly. You know, the witch cried at night, the baby is dying in the morning. So now we are back again
to that
revenge voting.
Wow.
And one thing I've observed in Rivers history, since 1999, Governor Odili, Governor Mechi, at their exit, the people they wanted to make governors never made it as governor. So will history repeat itself? Or will history be changed?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Incumbents don't always have the whatever.
They try,
but something just happens.
Works against the tide. So this is what we are seeing, because all of a sudden we're talking about Sanwo-Olu. Wike was not going to Igbo people, went to the market, we are sorry, everything.
He kept on apologizing.
They saw him walking on the road waving taxi, and social media is crazy. They're like, oh, what happened to Imoto? Imoto spoiled, and all of that. So we see him also doing
exact same thing happening.
Some kind, you understand? So, I mean, this weekend is going to be interesting.
It's going to be
I have my eyes on Delta, Lagos, and Ogun. Is another interesting place.
Do you think? I think that Abiodun
would own it again.
Well, we're based on incumbency, and I mean, if
but word on the street is that the people are also frustrated in Ogun State.
Exactly. In fact, not even if you go too far, even just around the fringes of Lagos too, you see
the border town.
Yeah, exactly. So now the ADC, funny enough, headed or the candidate being supported by Senator Amosu, who is fully APC, but coming on ADC campaign, and like, you know, politicians are just doing anything they like these days. The PDP seems quiet, but I think the ADC
is a strong
and
candidate.
the APC, there's going to be serious contention. Or year two is another interesting.
Well, I think Sheyi Makinde is taking that.
Yeah, but well, the APC.
I think so.
So now something happened, or something is happening again. When people talk about, oh, this party will support this party for presidency and this, and I remind them that in 2015, there were a lot more PDP states, PDP governed states. APC had probably only Nasarawa and Yobe.
Very few states, like, but now it has
immediately
lopsided.
And we heard from Governor Aliyu, or Senator, I don't know, did he make Senate again? Aliyu Babangida, that they, Northerners, supported Buhari, even though they were in PDP. What happened is that immediately Buhari won, almost all those states.
They moved to APC.
All those PDP people lost their relevance. So again, we saw where people like Makinde doing the whole thing G5 and all
he
of that.
He was a loner. And he did
well.
G
broke. So now, are we now going to, because these politicians, they're funny. They could be preaching there that, look, top is APC. We don't need any rainbow coloration here. Let's just color the broom all the way. You never can tell. So, yes, in fact, some people are of the opinion that, coming back to Governor Sanwo-Olu, that since he was following Asiwaju up and down doing presidential, that when Asiwaju finished election, Asiwaju said, come, Jide, don't you have election in 2 weeks? He said, yeah, go for your election, no, leave me alone.
No, but I think leave our governor alone. We are hoping we'll get the chance.
They should not just iron his jeans again. You see, this is the thing I'm telling you about. See, every little thing matters.
Yes.
Every little thing matters. Like, who did that?
I iron my jeans.
With ghettos.
Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? Hashtag where is the gubernatorial race? My dear brother and namesake Daniel made mention of an aspirant remembering people of the good works he has done for 4 years to be voted for again. But supposing he never did any good work, I hope this time people will be allowed to vote for the people of their choice and not imposing someone on the people. Democracy is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people, but the opposite is the case in Nigeria. So good to have my namesake in the studio. I happen to be his fan. My name is Daniel Ilowe's regular fan.
Thank you, Daniel. This comment, I wish you want to read it. Let's not read that one. But thank you so much, Dan. I think we had fun discussing it. But like,
will you show me the comment later?
So the thing is, right, I'm hoping that, we're able to speak with Governor Sanwo-Olu, because it's also pertinent that, that you speak across, because they've also accused me that it's also Labour Party I'm interviewing, and I keep on saying that now the person will answer us yes, now we go put for sure. But hey, I think listening to you is going to be a fun election, and I think maybe that's why they needed that 1 more week just to go wet ground, because now within this week 9 weeks begin they go market, Sanwo-Olu they go computer village. But Makinde, I've not heard any troubling news about Makinde's re-election. The only one I heard is more of Ogun State.
Most of those parts of Nigeria don't really invest in media.
Yeah, they don't do social media like Lagos. That is the thing that worries Sanwo-Olu, honestly. Our Lagosians were not smiling at all. Only little thing you do, they put you on social media.
And I want to say that I hope and I pray that, as a people in wanting change, we have to be we can't be emotional.
No, we can't.
We can't
we have to be strategic.
We have to be strategic.
Change has always been a strategic.
And we have to do it right. So Absolutely. We can't just say that, because this or... Yes, we all have our personal, things, but please...
Let's be strategic, okay?
It would be interesting to see a turn of history in those states.
Right? I'm looking forward to Saturday.
See a turn of history.
I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to
Saturday. Well, thank you so much, Dan. It's always fun talking politics. You make it exciting for us. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Chinelo, and thank you, Adiola. Now, before we go, do ensure you follow us across all our social media handles that way Show Africa. You can drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed our quote for today, here it is again. Every citizen of this country should be guaranteed that their votes matters, that their vote is counted, and that in the voting booth, their vote has a much weight as that of any CEO, any member of Congress, or any president. I think this is what we are looking forward to for the gubernatorial election, because INEC, you once failed us. Let us not have that repeat of history again. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. It's our ladies' night out, as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the run-up on PlusTvAfrica. I am Maureen Menong-Wezigwe, and I also have Adebayo Olowoake joining me virtually. Hello, Adebayo.
Good morning, Maureen, and good morning, viewers.
All right, so a few more days to 18th, and we are marching again, anticipating. How was your weekend, and how do you see the planned protest by the Labour Party, which is scheduled to hold today?
Well, my weekend was good. It was restful, of course, in anticipation of the fact that we'll round up the elections this week. So I was upbeat. With regard to the planned protest of the Labour Party, I think one can understand the frustration that the party has expressed at the, I don't know whether to say refusal of INEC, or so far the fact that INEC has not allowed it to inspect electoral materials as ruled by the courts. And so Labour feels, badly done by that decision, and has
Hello and welcome. On this episode on One-on-One today, I'm speaking with a professional with over 18 years experience. His name is Aziz Abida. Now, those who have worked with him say he possesses strong leadership qualities and management skills. He has worked in about 12 industries, including general management, corporate finance, portfolio management, investment banking, private equity and financial advisory. He's the former CEO of IHS Rwanda, one of the top 10 largest companies in Rwanda with an estimate of 50 million annual revenue. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Amida.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time. My first question to you is, like, you've done all of these things. What are you up to now?
Well, right now I left IHS in September, so I decided to take time to write a book and I consult for a lot of companies now, about 3-4, on structuring themselves for growth and helping them position themselves for funding and the rest. Then also spending some time setting up my foundation to, give back to society as we go. Yeah, so that's more like.
So now that you're in control of your own time, are you busier than when you worked for companies?
Yes. Right now, I can't remember the last time I slept before 3 a.m. I still get my 6 hours daily, but I sleep almost 3 a.m. daily now, because you're in control and you just feel like this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this, and then you're juggling. Before it was like one company you're working for, now you're juggling about 3 companies together to make sure, okay, yes, tomorrow morning we need to go for an investor presentation, make sure this is ready, and things like that. So it's much busy now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so every time we hear this word corporate governance, how do we ensure that companies follow through with it? We only just being another tick box exercise.
I think we are beyond the age of corporate governance being a tick box now. It's now companies are looking for, there are very few companies out there that are not looking for funding. And when you talk about those, when you look at the companies that are looking for funding, investors are very focused on those sort of things. You cannot just come to an investor and he says, okay, if I give you money, how do I ensure it's safe? So those are areas that are really becoming more and more critical. So if you treat it as a tick box now, you'll most likely pay for it really big. So corporate governance is extremely important, especially since 2008 when we have this whole financial crisis, and it's been that way since then. So you have US implementing Sarbanes-Oxley and a lot of other policies coming into place to ensure that you can protect stakeholders in a business through corporate governance. So yeah, I don't think any company would ever treat it as a tick box anymore. It would be difficult.
Okay, well, if you say so, now let's talk about leadership.
Okay.
In Nigeria, everybody goes on about how we have a leadership problem. And every time when we talk about leadership, we look at politicians, we look at government agencies, and we assume that corporate organizations, private-owned companies would do it better. But some of them have leadership challenges. Why?
Well, I would say, I think some of them is a big understatement. There is no way you don't have a leadership challenge, one or the other, whether small or big. It's the degree that varies. So if you go to some of the most advanced companies you have in the world, you would be surprised what you find when you get to their leadership. So, but the important factor to understand about leadership is that everyone is always learning on the job. We treat leaders as if they are these super robot human beings that are just there. They can't make mistakes. They would make mistakes, but they make it in different degrees. And a lot of them realize, they take a step back, and then they go forward again. So, but what differentiates a leader from every other person is actually that bird's eye view. That, okay, even if I'm making a mistake, I still see the impact on everything. And then you just start filling in pieces. So you can't really say that there is no challenge of leadership anywhere. Private organizations have a lot, from controlling politics to controlling employee engagement to making sure everybody is equally treated. It's a lot of problems on the leadership side. So yeah, I don't think it's private organizations have it better scenario.
Well, we all assume they have it better.
I've never assumed that.
Okay, now let's talk also about finding. So this CEO is about to resign. Why is succeeding him always sometimes like a challenge? Why is grooming leaders to succeed people a challenge sometimes?
Well, you can't really know a successor is good until he succeeds. So it's like I always say, if I have you as a staff, you're fantastic at what you do. Then you tell me there's another guy that is behind you. I could tell you, okay, yeah, that guy is there. But the question is, you're going, I know what I get, but I don't know what I'm going to get with the next guy. So it's like an investment. You want to invest in something. Do you know the return? No.
Okay.
So technically, it's a bit difficult to go to the point. So succession planning is always something that would be a problem. So, but what companies are now doing is to make sure that even if we don't know what we're going to get, at least we can pass as much knowledge as possible to the next person. Then you introduce mentors when they take over. Okay, how do you... So like for me, when I was leaving IHS Nigeria to IHS Rwanda, I was director of FP&A for 7 years in Nigeria. Okay. Then I went to Rwanda as CEO. Now, somebody took over after me, and I spent a lot of time saying to the person, okay, how do you need to do this. These are the sort of relationships you need to build. These are the areas you need to go. So that sort of mentorship helps a lot in succession, but it is never risk-free. It's impossible because you still have the ego. You still have a lot of things that comes in place. And then you have the unwillingness of the person that left to give that person the chance to do it. So it's a lot of variables to juggle around. So yeah, it's always going to be a problem.
Is it not possible that beyond, even though of course the leader makes the company, is it not possible to create a system such a way that regardless of the leader, we're able to develop whosoever might want to succeed the CEO or the MD when he's leaving? Is it possible to ingrain it even from when they come, when we take them in as trainees, so ingrain it just before they move up?
Well, yeah, it's possible, but the point is, if you want to test that theory, let's take a country like the US. Most of these guys that are leaders in the US, they go through schools, the best schools in the world, come through one of the best political systems in the world, but do they end up being the best leaders in the world? Not really. You really can't.
Mr. Amida, let's come to our country.
No, but I'm trying to stay away from.
Why? Because I just also feel like Nigeria. So it's fantastic that you made that analysis. They go to the best schools. Yes, it doesn't always mean the same, but like in the schools, in learning, there's some. They're doing projects, they're doing like different things. But Nigeria is, like we say, man no man has brought this person in, whether he has the capabilities or not, whether he has the... I don't even really like to look at degrees because I always say that degrees is not character at the end of the
true.
day.
I agree with you. And at the same time, I always feel it's a personal journey. What you do as a leader defines a lot about you in terms of what you've... Leadership is something that until you take it, you don't really know how much variables are in front of you. You could look at someone that says, this guy is a leader, he's not so great at what he's doing. It's easy. I can tell you. When I became CEO, I forgave every CEO I've ever worked with in my life. Because there is a lot of work, a lot of things you don't normally see. And someone told me once and said, oh, maybe that's not something, is that something you think you want to do? I said, that's the best experience in my life. I would do it anytime, any day, because it gives you so much. The pressure is huge. The government wants something, they call you. Your boss wants something from your holding company, they call you. Everyone that wants anything relating to that brand would call your name. So it's a really different ball game.
So how did you balance that?
Well, you need to find a lot of balance in everyday stuff. One, I like to distract myself a lot. I like to take myself away from work significantly. I play games. I go play games with my friends, go watch the game. Just do something that takes me away completely from everything. And I play football as much as possible. I do almost every sport that is available to do. But the aim of that is to ensure that I don't have any reason to pressure myself to the point where I can't function. And that's important because you could really go hard on everything, and then next thing you find out, boom, you're taking it out on the staff, or taking it out on a peer or something. It's really hard to master. So I don't really believe, I believe systems work, but when people take roles, they decide what they do with it significantly. There are controls in place, but they still have a lot of role to play. So that you can't really rule that out, no matter what.
Okay, let's talk about you as a leader. So I'm glad you've talked about. So your leadership style, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, you're the one who has been a CEO here. I feel like there's some people that have there's an innate leadership style that they're born with. And then, along the line, as they begin to work and relate with other people and mentors, it changed. So tell us about yours. What's your leadership style and how has it evolved over the years?
Well, I think one thing that stayed constant all through me being in leadership is that if you want to lead people, you need to remove everything they can worry about outside of you. Now, what am I trying to say? I have staffs that will say, if I have a staff and he's worried about taking his kid to school, he can't concentrate. So anything I tell him, he can't do. So for me, my priority anywhere is that my guys that I'm working with, they have to be fine. When I got to Rwanda, I promoted about 35 people who basically some of them have been on roles for 7 years. So it's been because the first thing I could do was to say, it's impossible to tell this guy, go do this for me, when he's worried about how he's going to pay his bills. So you need to understand that everyone has a goal. Everyone wants to send their kid to the best schools in the world. Everyone wants to eat at the best restaurant. So it's not just you. So if you can't make that, I'm not saying just increase salary, boom, and make everything crazy. But the moment I have a budget, this is my budget, this is what I can work with. It is now down to me to say, okay, how can I use this bucket in a way that makes sense to the company and at the same time to the people? So when I was in IHS Nigeria 7 years, and my team was one of the fastest growing teams.
Oh, wow.
I think I had more managers in my team than a lot of departments had in them. So it was basically, my aim was to say, how do I grow the people? Not just growing them because they're not working. So they can now worry about me because I demand performance. So if it's only me you're worried about, then I can take away the rest. Then at least it's fine. Then I can easily say it's balanced in a way. I'm not saying I'm the perfect leader. There will always be faults everywhere here and there. A staff once told me I should go back to school to learn management. It's fine. It is view. But to me, it's the way I believe people should be led. Give them a reason to want to follow. Because followership is more of a sacrifice than leadership is. Leadership, yes, is mostly imposed. I won't say imposed is not the right word. It's mostly given. You need to have that opportunity to lead. But to follow is actually a default. So it requires you sacrificing your time to be able to help someone else get his goal up.
Okay.
So to me, I don't take that for granted at all. So people is extremely important in my leadership style. But every other thing is left to debate. People can tell me, oh, is this, is that. I don't know. But that is a constant.
Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll take a short break. Mr. Amida is still with us talking about leadership and leadership challenges in a corporate organization. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on One on One. I still have Aziz Amida with me, and we're talking about leadership and leadership challenges in corporate organizations. Okay, so you've talked about your leadership style. What will you consider as the critical success factors for a leader?
People. You can't do without it. It's we could. I always say if your worry is about targets, most likely you don't have the right people. If your worry is about a lot of things, people would make everything happen. But if you cannot sort that problem out, it's impossible to conceptualize any other problem, because you will spend your days dealing with, maybe you're overpaying one person compared to the other guy. This guy is not happy. This lady here wants to be somewhere else. You spend a lot of time around. There'll be a lot of friction in the organization. So to me, having the right team that could work together, creating that environment that people could say when they wake up in the morning, they don't feel like they are under any pressure to come to work. I once had two staff who got into a very big conflict, and it lasted for a while. And I remember there was a time I was speaking with the manager. One was a manager, and they were like one reports to the other. So they were, and I said to her, I said, the important factor for me is that at the end of this whole thing, at no point should this lady feel she doesn't want to come to work. So I'm not going to tell you how to run your team, but just know my concern is that she needs to be happy with the job. So if you feel this conflict makes her happy, it's fine. If you feel it doesn't make her happy, then get it resolved. So it's important to understand that those things they're salient, because one tiny problem can basically wreck the entire chain, because what you do affects what the next person does, and it goes on and on and on like that. So if one person is not functioning well, the whole team can't function.
I feel like I should ask you follow-up questions to that. Like, how
Please,
do you ensure? Because, leadership, like you said, I really don't envy leaders, because leadership is a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're managing someone's not only personality, whatever self-confidence issues they have about themselves, how they were raised, and all of that. And you have to battle and balance that and ensure that you still get, your results at the end of the day, because...
Because what has worked for me, because I think I can read people a lot. For me personally, I could almost tell how to deal with you in 2 minutes after talking to you. I could almost tell, okay, with this person you need to be extremely firm. With this person, be soft. With this person, I used to work in an environment where we shout a lot. And there was this lady that was working with me. I never shouted on her for 6 years.
Oh wow, how did you do that?
It would be like, okay, how does it? But to me, that's her personality. She works better when you're able to
explain to her.
Okay, you know what, just take it easy. Go do this. Sometimes you get you get angry and you're like, oh wow, what's this? But I never really got into that position where I'm like, unlike some other people, and you're going hard at them. But then the other lady is like, she just comes to work and is like, okay, she comes and then you talk to her calmly. People say maybe it's the way she carries herself, but no, that's her personality. She works better when she's understood, when she's allowed to think. And the moment you put her under that sort of pressure, boom. It's we used to crack this joke about this friend of mine that we work in school together. We're in school, and when you go into an exam, and if that guy is thinking, and you call his name, he has failed.
Oh wow!
He would literally forget everything he wants to write. So everyone in the class will just say, in his exam, just let this guy be. Don't talk to him. Don't do anything. And it works. So your ability, discernment is important in leadership. So these things, they look so small, but they go a long way. People look at you and think, oh, it's just that guy that does it. But no, you're paying attention to all those things, because they are extremely important to you being successful.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk about employee behavior, especially in this era of great resignation.
Okay.
How should leaders, handle that? How should companies handle that now? Because it's almost like people just resigning, they're going into, I was reading a CNN report, and it was talking about how a lot of people, are resigning even from the jobs that are well paid and just, moving on. Was it the pandemic? I don't know. Tell us about it.
Well, that's it has two sides to it. I can't really confirm or say anything about the theory of the Great Resign, but the point I know is that people would always see things from two different angles. So there is the guys who see a different opportunity to go to. They would resign. They will go because human beings are rational. So it is impossible to see a high return and go for a lower one when all things are the same. So every time you look at them, if a man is making a decision, or a woman is making a decision, they are making it because they see a better opportunity in something else. So when this whole great resign, it becomes, is a person resigning for something worse than what they had? I don't think so. So the same thing would apply. So, and it comes down to what I said earlier. If you can make people believe and have goals, and you can meet their goals on whatever they are doing, they would always feel that joy to come to work daily. But if it's the other way, if I'm stressed every time I come to work, and I know that I'm probably going to lose my life or something else if I don't pay attention, then I'll leave. So you might call it anything, but the real problem is that everyone leaving any opportunity is leaving to what they believe in their mind is a better one. Whether it turns out to be better is a different thing, but as of the time that decision is being made, that's the background.
All right, interesting. Thank you. Let's talk about work cultures. How do we create sustainable work cultures?
Culture. Culture is hard because culture, you build culture from the little things. You build culture over time. You really can't. I've seen people do presentations around building culture, but I don't believe culture is something in Yoruba culture, they say if you want to greet an adult, you bow. If you're younger than someone, you give them a title, basically. Now, how is that relevant? Was that basically a law that was made and say, boom, this is how you relate to this guy? No, we grew up. Oh, I saw this person do it. Then I'm watching. So it's the same way. When in an organization, everyone below anyone is looking at the way you do things. They see you go into a meeting tomorrow and you're on your phone. Okay, maybe it's good to be on the phone. They see you go into, it's those little things. Culture is actually one of the things you contribute to in the subconscious a lot compared to any other thing. Processes you can draw on visual. Culture is a conscious effort towards little things to say, okay, as management, we want to do this way. When we go into the meetings, do we want to put our phones on the side so people see us that we do this? So it requires a lot of deliberate effort to make happen. So yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the pandemic. It's been 2 years, 2022, 2020. Lessons you've taken from the pandemic.
We must be ready to change. There is no one way to achieve any goal. We're glued to the office before now. Yeah. We need to do it from here. If we're not in the office, we're not productive. But then, most of us have found significant productivity from home. Basically, I particularly, working from home has been amazing for me. It's been, I could spend more time with my daughter, I could spend more time with my wife, and at the same time still focus on work. Unlike before, that time is, if I replace the time in traffic in Lagos with the time with family, you could almost double your income. When I used to live in Egbeda, I drive to Marina every day. And I leave the office at 5, get home at 10. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, why am I doing this to myself? You spend 5 hours. So if my hourly rate is, let's say, even if I make 300,000 a month, it means my hourly rate comes down to about, if I'm not mistaken, that's about 800 naira an hour. 800 naira per hour comes down to 5 hours. That's literally 4,000 bucks. If you look at it over a month, you're almost paying your rent. So the question becomes, that time alone, if that guy spent it focusing on what matters, he would produce more for the company. So yeah.
Okay. So for you, Mr. Amida, any regrets, any things that you wish you could have done differently?
I wish I could have been a bit more. You make how do you call it? This is a very difficult question to answer because regrets are very hard to acknowledge, more or less. But I think I didn't go through my career with a lot of humility, basically. I wish I could have learned humility earlier in life.
Okay.
To say, I learned it the hard way as I grew up, but I wish I could have been, a bit more. If you ask people that work with me early on in my career and people that work with me much later, you'll see a very different divide in the way it works. Maybe some might still have different opinions, but yeah, that's to be more humble, but at the same time, network more, create more relationships. There are a lot of relationships over the years that are basically allowed to, like, okay, you know what, maybe this person is here or there.
Our time is fast spent, but I cannot but help ask this last question. What difference did you notice in working in Rwanda and working in Nigeria? What was the shocking, should I say, difference? Was there like any?
That's like day and night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nigeria is like brash. We like to get it done now.
Aggressive, yes.
Rwandese they're not confrontational like us. So when there's conflict, they back down. So you need to be able to manage their position a lot. And I always say, in Rwanda, anger is your last resort. A lot of times, you need to basically is at the very end of the line. Nigeria, we get angry at each other. We understand. We just feel it's work. We move on. But when you get angry with the Rwandese, you might not forget it easily. It's not because it's just the way we're built. We're built differently.
I think in the entire continent, Nigerians are most aggressive.
I think Nigerians are very aggressive, but a lot of other countries also have that aggression. But because we go into the English line when we communicate, people tend to, like in Rwanda, people are not quiet when they are speaking Kinyarwanda. I think Rwandese are very loud when they're speaking Kinyarwanda. But as loud as Nigerians are. But when you go English, because it's not the comfort zone, it's a bit easier to, back down. But when you see Rwandese talk to Rwandese, you're like, okay, are they fighting? Are they not? It's really different.
Did you pick up on the language while you were there?
Well, the only one I know is that Oya in Lagos means let's go.
Oh.
In Rwanda, it means no.
Oh, really?
Yes. So when you say Oya, just know you're telling the person no. Meanwhile, your plan is to say let's do it.
Let's go.
So it's one of the areas I found very. But yeah, I learned a bit of Kinyarwanda here and there, but not very good.
Okay, my director to me. One last question: top business priorities or top priorities leaders, and I think even everyone should look out for in 2022.
I think 2022 will be a very productive year because we've been it's like a jet engine when it is boosting and it's about to launch. We've been doing this work from home / adjusting to the pandemic for about 2 years now, and it's now time for you to start seeing the benefit of that. People are now getting more and more used to the fact, and now they can produce the best of it. So I think the best things to look out for in 2020 will be huge productivity, if you ask me. I'm not a professor of econometrics that modeled this out, but I can tell you that from what I know about behavioral science and how people tend to produce, this is a time where businesses will start seeing a lot of drive towards new levels. Well, those that are willing to adapt to it anyway. So, but yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Aziz Amida.
Most welcome.
I still have like a lot of questions, but we're out of time.
It's not a problem.
I think I'll ask you behind the scene. Thank you very much for your time. And that's all we can take on 101 today. I hope you have listened and learned as much as I can. So until I see you again next week, my name is Femino Ajekwe.
That is not good for the government to do that anyway. That is what I felt. Because in a forest, you must have a big monkey there. Understand? In a group of people, you must have one that is bad. Not everybody is bad. If you find a school that is not capable of holding children, it is to close down that school and leave others carried on their business.
My validation on the issue of Hanifa's death is actually medicine after death. Now that the Kano State government is requesting for maybe the licenses of private school, really, but to me, it should have been done in a different way. This thing should have been put in place before now. And to me as a parent, I felt the pain of the mother, like watching your child go through that pain and being murdered just like that. No, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Justice should be given.
No. We cannot take justice that way, because it is the fingers that sin that should be prosecuted. And if the other schools can meet up with criteria and conditions of their services, I think they should be allowed to exist.
I have not come across a blind person who have become sighted. Unfortunately, I've come across too many sighted people who have become blind.
I stood for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, was like, a blind individual writing like this. Even a typical human being cannot do most of what he is doing.
They are pushed aside. They look them as perpetual beggars, and it's not supposed to be. Some of us, we are learned. We don't need pity. We need opportunities. We need encouragement.
A February 2021 report by the World Health Organization says that globally, 2.2 billion people have a visual impairment. Of that number, 64 million people suffer from glaucoma, the leading cause of irreversible blindness in the world. It is projected that by the year 2030, 95.4 million people would suffer from the disease. Being a black person is a risk factor. At Ikeja Junior High School, Lagos, Nigeria, there are 55 steps from one end of the hallway to the other. There are 18 steps down the stairwell and 15 steps between classes. Cyril Ujime counted them all because he needed the figures as well as his white cane to find his way around work.
It's more than the cost price.
Cyril is a 48-year-old visually impaired mathematician. He teaches math here to students with and without hearing disabilities in junior secondary classes 1 to 3. This situation presents a peculiar communication challenge.
Imagine they will do sign language, I cannot see what they are signing. I will talk, they cannot hear what I'm saying. So if they want to talk, I cannot even hear them. They will make noise with it. And it has really been a very difficult situation. How are you today? Fine. I had to learn a little bit of sign language, and that gladdened their heart. They love seeing me making that effort to communicate with them. Unfortunately, they feel, because I cannot see them back, they feel saddened about it, that I'm not seeing them sign back to me, communicating with me in their own way.
Here's where 30-year-old Tawalkat Babatunde comes in.
Take note, it's over the cost price, not the selling price.
She's a sign language specialist at the school. She works with Cyril to coordinate and communicate math lessons to the class.
I'll make sure the class is being arranged. Okay, keep quiet, watch what he's saying, explain. When he's explaining, I'll demonstrate. You do give them classwork and homework. I'll mark it, distribute it to the students. Honestly, the first day we worked together, I stood at just for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, was like, a blind individual writing like this. Even a typical human being cannot do most of what he is doing. So I was amazed.
Cyril Ojime is a 1996 graduate of Pure and Applied Mathematics from the University of Ilori, Kwara State. He's also an award-winning math and further math teacher with experience spanning 11 different schools in 5 states across Nigeria since 1999. Cyril recalls a childhood experience that motivated him to take up teaching as a career.
I used to have a math teacher. He would just put some problems on the board and I would just be smiling. We would not be able to solve it. So in my mind, I said, I want to be a teacher whereby I will make math to look simpler than what this man is doing.
That resolve made in the early 80s still nudges him to demystify math for children today. However, in 2012, Cyril was diagnosed with glaucoma. This almost puts paid to his life ambition of teaching math.
When I first of all found out 2012, it was like a shock to me. Because as at then, in my family, the extended family, we only know for maybe eye issues such as myopia or long distance issue. Then maybe at worst cataracts, but nothing like glaucoma. So it was a surprise to me. And when it started, it was as if it was an insect in my eye that was blurring my vision. So when I was told it was glaucoma, I went to Google it to read more about it. When I learned it was white blindness, I got a bit scared at first. But I said, okay, let me see what can be done.
Dr. Adiola Onokoya is a professor of ophthalmology at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH. She throws some light on Cyril's condition.
Glaucoma is the commonest cause of irreversible blindness. It's a disease of the nerve of the eye. That nerve is like a cable that connects the eyeball to the brain. In glaucoma, what happens is there's some damage, inside the eyeball where you have those nerves originating from that we call the optic nerve. They are damaged. And what damages them? Well, it's either there isn't enough blood flowing into them or because there's a lot of pressure inside the eye. And once those cells in the eye die, even the eye is opened, is looking at whatever object, but there is no connection. There's a disconnect between what the eye sees and the brain. So the eye looks normal, but no image processing is taking place.
What causes glaucoma and how can it be treated?
Nobody knows the cause. And if the cause of a disease is not known, then there's no cure. It's commoner in blacks than in the Caucasian. There's just an inherent, risk for us to develop glaucoma, being blacks. And then if you have a family history, because genetics is at the basis of glaucoma, really. And then if that pressure is high, that's eye pressure, intraocular pressure, if it's high. And then people who have severe hypertension, people who have very low blood pressure, even people who are using low blood pressure medication, but they are overusing it. Management of the glaucoma, we can give eye drops. And if the eye drops are not working well, then you may have to go to surgery. It's a lifelong disease. But suffice is to say that once you have lost vision from glaucoma, it is not recovered.
Cyril was in the prime of his career when glaucoma struck. He was deputy head of the math department, mathematics coordinator, and was vying to be head of senior school before he began to have challenges with his vision. The new reality devastated him. He began to struggle with tasks that were once easy.
Then, to be moving around, it was difficult for me. There are times I would just miss my way when going to the class. I would not really know the right class that I'm going to until I therefore come back and count my steps again. Some of my colleagues will be assisting me in typing, to be marking that I'm going through a phase. And I thank God for my colleagues then who rallied around me to see that I was not failing. Being a private institution, they were not looking at where...
Because information is stored in the beavers. And if they were to bring all the beavers machines, over 176,000 for inspection at the time, it was going to be a problem. That meant
the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, are calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to comply with the order of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and allow them carry out forensic examination of the bimodal voter accreditation system machines and all information stored in the server. In a letter dated March 9, signed by its legal team led by Joe Kiari Gatzama, the party recalled that the Center or the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja and presided over by Justice Shagbo Ikeag had granted the orders on March 3 in favor of PDP and Atiku. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, has directed commissioners of police in charge of state commands to swiftly conclude all election-related investigations. The Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement directed the police commissioners to forward their case files to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for prosecution. According to Adejobi, the investigation encompasses all cases of violations against the 2022 Electoral Act during the February 25 presidential and National Assembly electioneering process. The IGP was quoted as urging well-meaning members of the public to collaborate with the police and other law enforcement agencies tasked with election security management. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, LP, Peter Obi, says he has no grudges with the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu regarding his declaration by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as the winner of the 2023 presidential election. Obi stated this while speaking in an interview on Monday. Obi, who said he has respect for Tinubu as a brother and regards him as a father, added that he was only challenging the process through which INEC declared him as the president-elect. He said his party is committed to a new Nigeria in which everything must be done right. The Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima is currently meeting senators-elect and members of the House of Representatives-elect of the All Progressives Congress who have been invited to parley with the party's national leadership. The meeting, which began minutes before 3 p.m., is at the State House Banquet Hall in Abuja. Although journalists were not allowed into the banquet hall, Shettima, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, Senator Godswill Akpabio, APC Chairman Abdullahi Adamu, amongst others, were spotted arriving for the meeting. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has reserved judgment for a date that would be communicated in an appeal filed by Ademola Adeleke of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, challenging his sack as the Osun State Governor. The Osun Governorship Election Petition Tribunal had ruled in favor of Boyega Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress, APC. 2 out of the 3-member panel, in a judgment delivered on January 27, held that Oyetola was able to prove that there was overvoting in some polling units. Adeleke, however, rejected the judgment, describing it as a miscarriage of justice. He is praying the court for an order setting aside the whole decision of the tribunal. And from Taraba State comes the report that the state chapter of the Labour Party has dissociated itself from a purported endorsement of the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the state, Colonel Kefas Agbu, retired, by one evangelist Philip Munlip on behalf of the party. The chairperson of the LP in Taraba, Mrs. Esther Gulmu, at the media briefing on Sunday in Jalingo, said Munlip's action was born out of mischief, with the aim of tarnishing the good image of the party in the state. It was gathered that Mulip, who contested the governorship ticket of the party against the LP governorship candidate in the state, Senator Joel Ikega, had on Wednesday addressed a press conference where he endorsed the PDP governorship candidate. Reacting, Gulmu said Mulip was not the party's governorship candidate and lacked the moral and legal rights to endorse anybody on behalf of the party in the state. Leaders of Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA, are denying the endorsement of the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Her Excellency Dr. Hadiza Sabuwa Balarabe, ahead of Saturday's governorship election and State House of Assembly election. In a statement issued by the ECWA chairman and the secretary, Reverend Dr. Yunana Tanimu and Reverend Nehemiah Bature, respectively, the group said the attention of the pastors and leaders of the 21st District Church Council in Kaduna State had been drawn to a misleading news item on the social media, alleging that ECWA endorsed the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Her Excellency Dr. Hadiza Sabuwa Balarabe, when she met with some clergy parading themselves as executive of the 21 ECWA DCCs. The statement described the news item as misleading, false and strange. According to the statement, ECWA, as a non-partisan body, has adopted a neutral stand in the past and forthcoming elections. The Nigerian Police Force Lagos State Command on Sunday said it had yet to see empirical evidence to show any form of attack on supporters of the Labour Party in the Ekpe area of the state. A former commissioner under the immediate past administration of Governor Akinwumi Ambode in Lagos, Olawale Olowu, had said he escaped unhurt when he was reportedly shot at on Saturday. The Labour Party governorship candidate Gbadebo Rotsvivo had reportedly said some of his supporters were attacked in a Ekpe local government area of the state, while attempts were also made on his life. Meanwhile, Olowo, the candidate of the Boot Party for the March 18 governorship election, recently collapsed his structure for the LP. He said he was with a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Nohim Balogun, who was the opposition party's House of Representatives, Ekpe federal constituency candidate, and other stalwarts at the campaign. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, confirmed the discharge of 53 victims of an accident involving a bus and a train in the state. An Ido-bound passenger train crashed a Lagos State Government BRT bus or staff bus at the PWD bus stop in the Ikeja area of the state last Thursday, with 6 people confirmed dead and 85 others injured. The governor, who disclosed this on his Twitter handle, said all the victims of the accident were treated by the state government. He expressed gratitude to everyone who heeded to their call for blood donation, saying Lagosians demonstrated true humanity with over 256 units of blood donated, leading to swift action that saved lives. The leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government to end the naira scarcity in the country. The Labour Union threatened to go on strike if the issue was not resolved at the expiration of the ultimatum. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, gave the ultimatum on Monday in Abuja at the opening ceremony of the Central Working Committee meeting of the Labour Union. Ajaero, who frowned at the hardship being faced by Nigerians following the naira redesign policy of the federal government, warned that on the expiration of the 7 days, workers would be directed to stay away from work if nothing was done to ameliorate their situation.
The NLC is giving the federal government of Nigeria and the agencies of government, including the Central Bank of Nigeria and the other banking institutions, 7 working days to address the issue of the cash crunch. If they fail to do this, at the expiration of the 7 days, Congress is directing all workers in the country to stay at home, because it has become very difficult to even access 1 naira to enter vehicles to your workplace. It is difficult for you even to buy products, especially from traders who don't have banks. This is the situation we have found ourselves. The federal government came out with a policy that even the old currency are still valid. What we have discovered is that even when the banks give you those old currencies, the traders are not accepting it. And even when you take it to the same banks, the banks are not accepting it. We have been frustrated to a level.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has called on residents, business owners and especially retailers to accept the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes in line with the Supreme Court judgment which ruled that the currency remains legal tender until December 31, 2023. Sanwo-Olu made the call in a statement through the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, yesterday. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu called on business owners, especially retailers, to accept the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes, urging all agencies of the Lagos State government not to reject payments made with the old currency by the public. In the meantime, the governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, urges the state residents to transact with the old naira notes and report banks that refuse to accept the notes. Making the announcement on his Facebook page on Monday, Soludo noted that the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, confirmed to him that commercial banks could dispense and accept old notes from customers, as he says the governor of the CBN gave the directive at a bankers committee meeting held on Sunday, 12th of March 2023. The Nigerian Bar Association NBA has said the federal government should direct immediate compliance with the Supreme Court order extending the validity of old Naira notes. Yakubu Mekayu, NBA president, said this in a statement issued on Monday. He lamented the hardship the currency redesign policy has imposed on Nigerians, saying the federal government's refusal to adhere to the court order shows a failure of the constitution and democracy. On March 3, the Supreme Court ordered that the old Naira should continue to be used as legal tender until December 31, 2023. However, the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, are yet to issue official announcements to the public indicating compliance. The Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, says the introduction of the Naira redesign policy has damaged the credentials of President Muhammadu Buhari. In a statement on Sunday, Murtala Aliyu, Secretary General of the Forum, said the scarcity of cash in the country could lead to breakdown of law and order. The Forum called on Buhari to respect the ruling of the Supreme Court, which says the old notes remain legal tender until December 31. It went further to rule that the unconstitutional use of powers by the President on the Naira redesign has breached the fundamental right of Nigerian citizens in various ways. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, on Sunday demanded the immediate arrest of the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, and the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, over their roles in the crisis trailing the redesign of Naira notes. The duo had come under severe criticisms from Nigerians over the federal government's disregard for the Supreme Court ruling on the redesign of the 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes. The Apex Bank on March 3 extended the validity of the old Naira notes till December 31. However, the silence of the federal government and Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on the ruling 10 days after it was delivered has provoked anger in the land, with many still reluctant to accept the old banknotes. The Ekiti and Kogi state governments last week threatened to prosecute individuals and businesses rejecting the old Naira notes in the state. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, says it will continue to arrest and prosecute those individuals in the production and circulation of fake redesigned Naira notes. Commandant General said the number of cases of fake Naira notes circulation had become worrisome. NSCDC said it arrested members of 2 syndicate groups allegedly involved in the production and distribution of counterfeit United States dollars and new Naira notes. Audi warned perpetrators to desist from the act, adding that the Corps would not relent but continue to arrest and prosecute those involved in economic sabotage of the country. He said while interrogating most of the arrested suspects, it was deduced that the alleged fraudsters took advantage of the low circulation of the redesigned Naira notes to massively produce counterfeit notes. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, has announced that the 2023 mock UTME, earlier scheduled for Thursday, March 16, 2023, has been shifted to Thursday, March 30, 2023. The Examination Board, in a statement, said the shift in date is partly owed to the change in the date for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections, now moved to 18th of March. JAM further stated that no fewer than 168,748 registered for the 2023 mock UTME out of the over 1.5 million prospective candidates for this year's UTME. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke says there is no going back in the establishment of University of Ilesha, as his administration will ensure proper footing is given to the institution. Governor Adeleke stated this while on an assessment tour of the university at Ilesha. The chairman ad hoc committee, University of Ilesha, Professor Taiwo Ashaolu, read some of the recommendations, which include creation of 8 faculties, giving automatic employment to staff of the College of Education, among others.
PDP was the one that brought the idea that Ilesha people, if not Ilesha, deserve a university. I introduced what they call fact check. For us to have come here today is to let you know, the student, the staff, and of course, the intention people, to know that we meant business. There is time for everything. I've said it before. Also, people will keep smiling.
Having carefully reviewed the issues surrounding the establishment of the University of Ilesha, below are some of the recommendations. 1. Identify gaps in the university establishment law should be addressed by the state government. Amendments of the estate law, as highlighted on pages 18 to 22 of this report, should be forwarded to the State House of Assembly for necessary legislative actions. 2. The state government is advised to reconstitute the governing council for the university. Also, new principal officers should be appointed for the university.
The residents of Okeako in Ekiti State are seeking help from relevant authorities after a rainstorm destroyed their residential buildings, shops, as well as electric poles. Speaking to journalists, some victims said the rain, which lasted for over 2 hours, started normally but later blew off rooftops and destroyed electric poles, thereby subjecting the sleepy community to total blackout. Chairman of Ajoni Local Government Development Authority, Michael Ogungbemi, said relevant government agencies, including the National Emergency Management Authority and the state government, have been duly informed of the disasters.
Just to the cloud change, immediately the breeze starts. That breeze is a terrible breeze, which I never see in my life. It's when my mother born me. I never see this kind of breeze in my life.
And the opportunity to talk to the federal government, not only federal government, especially the state governments, that they should please, they should come to these houses and they assisted those people, the poor masses that are here, that the incident really affected their life. They don't have anywhere to run for shelter.
And then Fulani have been disturbing us for the past 10 years. With the intervention of the government, have been even helping us in one way or another, but still, we are still expecting the intervention of the government.
And we appeal to them that they should just exercise patience, that the government will be proactive in meeting their needs. And right away, we have sent out the documentation of all the households, their name, levels of damages. They will run into millions of naira. And NEMA in the state, and so SEMA in the state and NEMA in the federation are working on it. And I'm sure in some few days' time, rescue will come to those communities.
Still on disasters, a fire outbreak that began at the midnight on Monday has raised shops at a popular commodity market, Singa Market, in Kano State. The fire, according to eyewitnesses, could not be controlled until around 8 a.m. Firefighters alongside marketers worked to bring the situation under control and quench the fire from spreading to other places. One of the marketers, Abubakar Aminu, whose shop was burnt, said he received a call from a gate man around 1:15 a.m. But when he arrived at the market around 2 a.m., his shop was ablaze and he could not salvage any goods. According to him, the fire spread to 3 more plazas, housing over 100 shops stored with goods worth millions of naira. This is the third fire outbreak within 2 months in major markets in the state. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has announced the international runways 18R and 36L at Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, will be shut down for maintenance. FAN announced this in a statement on Monday, noting that the runways will be closed for 8 weeks. The agency disclosed that taxiway B18L would be used instead for all flight operations until maintenance is completed. Gwer West and Agatu local government areas of Benue State have indicated interest to boost child nutrition and youth-friendly health programs aimed at arresting issues of infant mortality and nutrition-related causes arising from the high number of internally displaced persons, IDPs, and its attendant consequences on food storage in Benue State. Our correspondent Francis Terr filed in this report as presented from our studios.
The chairman of Gwawa's local government, Honorable Andrew Ayande, represented by the council legislative leader, Honorable John Shiva, said his council was worst hit by the nutrition crisis as a result of the huge number of children in the IDP camps.
We have a lot of refugees moving from villages to the refugees camp. They are suffering from malnutrition as a result of the displacement. The idea is that the nutrition report should grow quickly so that by next week possibly we capture it in budget.
Also, the representative of Agato local government chairman and deputy head of administration, Mrs. Justina Ukboku, told the WFI team that the council has put in place measures for effective commencement of the health-friendly program in the local government.
Your visit, she has briefed me and they are working towards it, and including the planning officer who is involved. A message has been sent across to him, and by the grace of God, they put heads together to see that they meet up with your demands from the local government.
Mrs. Sarah Ingbam, the state project coordinator, said the creation of a budget line for the program has been guaranteed and awaiting the release and implementation of the program, appreciating the local government council areas for their positive response.
I have seen the feasibility, I have seen the positive response, and I'm very, very convinced that because of the expression, most of the utterances I am receiving, or we are receiving from the registration and the technical people involved, we are very, very hopeful that this project will definitely succeed.
On his part, the National Coordinator and Project Manager, Women Friendly Initiative, Mr. Paul Ondofa Uche, said the organization is looking at the creation of budget lines and its integration into the health services to reduce the high level of malnutrition in the affected states.
In these two LGS of Benue State, that is Agato and Gwe West, the stakeholders have visited so far, have obtained their commitment, and is very, very promising. All of them agree to work together and create two budget lines. Create budget lines for adolescent and youth-friendly health services and nutrition. And all this will be done within this week before election. They promised me that by next week they will send a bit of this budget for me to see what they have done.
Women Friendly Initiative is advocating for the creation of budgetary provision to enhance appropriate intervention on nutrition, adolescent and youth-friendly health service in 5 states and the FCT.
Still ahead, suspected Islamic militants killed 19 in another village raid in eastern Congo. Details when we return.
An African girl somewhere is sitting at home, accompanied by dreams that seem so far away. Africa is one of the continents with the highest out-of-school percentage in education, and girls are at an early disadvantage. The sub-Saharan Africa records about 18 million out-of-school girls. This gender gap extends to the tech space with a projection of only a 33% global female workforce representation in tech firms for 2022. Let us help change the stories and numbers. Africa Agility's Project Train a Girl campaign is working to help train African girls in tech. You can donate as little as $2 or 2,000 naira to help a girl in tech get her heels in the door. Visit www.africaagility.rallyup.com/PTAG to donate.
We move now to other parts of Africa, where at the Democratic Republic of Congo, suspected Islamist militants killed at least 19 people and burned a medical facility in a raid on a village in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo early on Sunday morning, two regional officers have said. The attack, which occurred around 1 a.m. in the village of Kirindera in North Kivu province, took place just a few kilometers from another attack on a village that killed at least 35 people last week.
Burnt beds in a medical center are a sign of what happened in this eastern Congolese village in the early hours of Sunday morning. So too are the pools of blood. At least 19 people were killed in Kirindera, two regional officials said, in an attack they blamed on a militant group that has pledged allegiance to Islamic State. Bernadette Kavira says she was woken up by sounds of the raid that started at around 1 a.m.
We thought we were going to die here. By grace, these assailants left my family compound and went to kill other people on the way, next to us. They looted the shops. We had the chance to leave the house and flee to the bush.
Kirindera is in North Kivu province and only a short distance from another village that was attacked last week. The army blamed last week's attack on the Allied Democratic Forces, a Ugandan jihadist group that moved into Congo in the 1990s. Luanzo Kambale, who lives in Kirindera, also blamed Sunday's attack on the ADF. He says his two brothers are in hospital and his two sisters were taken into the bush. The ADF has been accused of causing thousands of deaths over the past decade. The killings have continued despite efforts by the military, which is also fighting the M23 rebel group. It's another example of violence in Congo's east that has contributed to plummeting public support for a United Nations peacekeeping mission. Locals complain that MONUSCO, as it's called, is unable to stem the bloodshed. A delegation from the UN Security Council toured North Kivu at the weekend, including to a camp for displaced people. The M23's insurgency has displaced 600,000 in recent months. Congo blames Rwanda for supporting the group. The United Nations, the US and other international powers have made similar allegations. Rwanda denies this. During the UN tour, Congo's Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Modeste Mutinga, said he hoped that a clear message being sent to Rwanda would allow for peace, and for those who've been forced from their homes to be able to return.
A delegation from the United Nations Security Council toured Congo's North Kivu on Saturday, March 11, visiting a camp for internally displaced people. Nicolas de Riviere, the French ambassador to the UN, said the Security Council was committed to supporting peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Fighting between the Congolese army and the M23 rebel group claiming to represent the interests of ethnic Tutsi in eastern Congo has plunged the region into humanitarian crisis that has displaced more than 600,000 people. In the meantime, Gabonese authorities on Sunday, March 12, continued search operations for 31 people still missing after a ferry sank last week in the coastal area, killing 6 people. The Esther Miracle ferry, operated by Royal Coast Marine and carrying 161 passengers, was sailing from Libreville to Port Gentil when it sank on March 9 off a coastal village, Nyoni. Lieutenant Modeste Mezui told the state broadcast on Sunday that the Air Force has been conducting daily search operations in order to find the missing people since the ferry sank. And from Tunisia comes the report that the new parliament, elected in December and January in a vote with a turnout of 11%, sat for the first time on Monday in a session closed to all but state media, and with the opposition coalition saying it would not recognize its legitimacy. President Kais Saied shut down the previous elected parliament in July 2021, moving to rule by decree in a move that opposition parties called a coup. He has said his actions were legal and needed to save Tunisia from years of crisis. The new parliament, operating under a constitution that Said wrote last year and which was passed in a referendum with a turnout of 30%, will have very little power compared with the body it replaces. Cyclone Freddy has battered central Mozambique after making landfall for a second time in a month, breaking records for the duration and strength of tropical storms in the southern hemisphere. Footage released by UNICEF shows strong winds and heavy rain hitting the port town of Quelimena, central Mozambique, as residents battle the storm, trying to carry on with their lives. Communications and electricity supply in the storm area have been cut, so the extent of the damage and number of casualties were not clear.
Cyclone Freddy battered central Mozambique on Sunday after making landfall for a second time in a month, breaking records for the duration and strength of tropical storms in the southern hemisphere. Footage released by UNICEF shows strong winds and heavy rain hitting the central port town of Quelimane as residents battled the storm. Communications and electricity supply in the storm area have been cut, so the extent of the damage and number of casualties was not immediately clear. But more than 171,000 people were affected after the cyclone swept through southern Mozambique last month. 27 people died across Mozambique and Madagascar. More than 500,000 are at risk of being affected in Mozambique this time around, according to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Climate change is making hurricanes stronger, scientists say. Oceans absorb much of the heat from greenhouse gas emissions, and when warm seawater evaporates, its heat energy is transferred to the atmosphere, fueling more destructive storms.
And outside Africa, U.S. President Joe Biden has pledged to do whatever is needed to address a banking crisis threatened by the collapses of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, which forced regulators to step in with emergency measures. Biden's address came after weekend moves by the United States to guarantee deposit at collapsed tech-focused lender SVB failed to reassure investors about the health of other banks around the world. He said his administration's rapid action over the weekend should give Americans confidence that the U.S. banking system is safe.
Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, first, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured, they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the deposit insurance fund. Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Third, investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works. And fourth, there are important questions of how these banks got into the circumstance in the first place. We must get the full accounting of what happened and why those responsible can be held accountable.
Thousands of junior doctors in Britain walked out today in a 3-day strike that will disrupt patients' care as they protest over pay they say can work out at less per hour than a barrister. The strike is the latest involving staff of Britain's state-funded National Health Service, NHS, following the walkouts by nurses, paramedics and other workers demanding a pay rise that better reflects double-digit levels of inflation. Their trade union, the British Medical Association BMA, says starting pay for junior doctors can be as low as £14 £0.09 per hour, 1 pence less than the top-level pay for a barista at British coffee chain Pret A Manager. A broader wave of strikes in Britain involving hundreds of thousands of public sector workers comes at a time of pressured public finances and as Sunak's government prepares to deliver a budget on Wednesday.
Junior doctors over the last 15 years have lost 26.1% of their pay due to inflation, and all we're asking for is for that pay to be restored, because no culmination, as I say, of 15 years of pay cuts. We've had a government that have imposed a public sector wage freeze, they imposed our last contract, and they imposed conditions on our supposedly independent pay review body. All of that has led to the government making all of these decisions on their own and cutting our pay to a point where doctors are starting on £14 an hour. We're just asking for that pay to be restored, and that looks like something like £19 an hour, which in my opinion is extremely reasonable. We set up a meeting and then didn't turn up to it. On the 24th of February, we announced dates for our first round of action, and on the 2nd of March, he came.
Up next, currency redesign. Nigeria's account for 20 trillion naira in economic losses over CBN's cash mop-up report. That's in business news. Join us again.
And in business news, clearing agents under the aegis of the Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents, ANLCA, have decried the high level of extortion and over 260 security checkpoints along Seme and Idiroko borders. And this is even as they said policemen now turn to money agents as they give out cash to people who are in need of money and collect transfer in return. When reporters visited the two border posts recently, there were over 260 checkpoints mounted by various security personnel, including police, immigration, civil defense, and others, which motorists and clearing agents described as embarrassing situation to Nigeria as a country. They lamented that the extortion and illegal checkpoints are hindering movement of transit cargoes, both inward and outward of the borders. Among the security personnel along the borders, police has the highest checkpoints. For instance, at Seme border, police has over 80 checkpoints alone on the inward part of the border. Nigeria's economy is grinding to a halt and has lost about 20 trillion naira following this over 70% mop-up of cash by the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria. A new report by an economic think tank, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, said this on Sunday. And it said the protracted acute cash scarcity had not only crippled economic activities across the country, but was now a major risk to the livelihoods of most Nigerians. Millions of citizens have slipped into penury and destitution as a result of the disruptions and tribulations perpetrated by the currency redesign policy, especially the mopping up of over 70% of cash in the economy, according to the director CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf. While he reacted to the currency redesign policy, he's calling for an urgent intervention by the President, Muhammadu Buhari, as he stressed that Nigerians have not been this traumatized in recent history as the economy is gradually grinding to a halt because of the collapse of payment systems across all platforms. Digital platforms are performing suboptimally because of congestion, and physical cash is unavailable because the CBN has sucked away over 70% of cash in the economy. And the expected relief from the Supreme Court judge has not materialized. The Nigerian Institute of Town Planners has urged the federal government and other tiers of government to pay more attention to physical planning to save the country from future problems. Wahid Kadiri held in Abeokuta recently. Attorney General and other stakeholders advised the incoming president to focus on physical planning to develop the country. According to him, it is only when the physical planning problem is solved that the country can progress. The national president, who argued that Nigeria was not a developing country, lamented that despite the efforts of Nigerians, the country was still stagnant. And Nigeria spent at least 2.4 trillion naira to import raw materials from other countries in 2022, according to data collated from foreign trade statistics of the National Bureau of Statistics. The data also showed that Nigeria exported raw materials to the tune of 1 trillion naira, leaving a deficit of 1.4 trillion naira during the period under review. And as raw materials are substances or items used in the primary production or manufacturing of goods. And Statistica also reported that the raw material imported into Nigeria amounted to over 1.9 trillion naira in 2021, amounting to about $4.6 billion. In the preceding year, 2020, around 1.4 trillion naira worth of raw materials, about $3.4 billion was imported, and this followed the upward trend observed since 2018. According to the NBS data, major imports during this period included cane sugar from Brazil, odoriferous substances from Ireland and Swaziland, as well as milk preparations from Ireland and Malaysia. And that's business news. Thank you for watching. I am Destiny Momo. The news continues.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
And just before the entertainment news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira banknotes remain legal tender till December 31, 2023. The Apex Bank's Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Issa Abdul Mumin, disclosed this in a statement today. This is coming 10 days after the Supreme Court ruled that old naira notes should coexist with new ones till the end of the year. The highest court of the land had on March 3 ordered that old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes remain valid till December 31. Stay on for entertainment.
And in entertainment, American costume designer Ruth Carter has become the first black woman to win 2 Oscars. She won the costume design category in the ongoing 2023 Oscars. Carter won a second Oscar for costume design for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. In her acceptance speech, Carter thanked the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for recognizing the superhero that is a black woman. Carter told the audience that her mother died earlier in the week at the age of 101. The acclaimed costumer was previously nominated for Oscars for her work in Spike Lee's Malcolm X and Steven Spielberg's Amistad. Oscars host Jimmy Kimmel kicked off the show by introducing some unofficial members of the ceremony's crisis team to any unexpected outburst. Kimmel nodded to Will Smith slapping Chris Rock throughout his opening monologue, joking that if anyone in the audience commits an act of violence, they'd be awarded the Oscar for Best Actor and permitted to give a 90-minute long speech. Kimmel concluded, "No time for shenanigans." Kimmel then continued by highlighting some of the stars in the audience who would help serve as security. Music star Shakira is opening up about how rough life has been following a split from former Barcelona footballer Gerard Piqué. Shakira realized Piqué was having an affair after she noticed her jam kept disappearing and he nor their sons ate the fruit spread. Shakira said that after she released the song, she felt how other women could relate to a situation with her ex. The singer said she is glad to know so many women can relate to her experience. Last June, the 3-time Grammy winner and PK36 released a joint statement announcing their split. The mother of Caroline Flack has said she rejects an apology given by the Metropolitan Police about how her daughter's case was handled. The TV star was facing prosecution for assaulting her boyfriend when she killed herself in February 2020. The Metropolitan Police last month apologized to her mom, Christine Flack, for not recording the reason why she had been charged. Kristen noted that she rejects the apology, while the force said her arrest had been handled appropriately. Kristen has previously said her daughter had been treated differently because of her fame. Kristen says she will not stop campaigning for a more comprehensive apology from the Metropolitan Police for the way it dealt with her daughter in the hours before she died. Bill Tidy, the cartoonist who was known for his quick artistry on shows including Countdown and Countryfile, has died at the age of 89. His family paid tribute to the most brilliant cartoonist and the very best dad after he died, with his children Sylvia and Rob by his side. His health declined in recent years after he suffered 2 serious strokes. His cartoonist career began when he sold a sketch to a Japanese newspaper in 1955. And that's all in entertainment. I am Ifeoluwa Oshunkeye.
Up next is sports.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on Plus TV Africa. Manchester United midfielder Casemiro is facing a 4-game ban after receiving a straight red card during Sunday's goalless draw with Southampton. The Brazilian was originally given a yellow card by referee Anthony Taylor for a first-half challenge on Southampton midfielder Carlos Alcaraz, but it was upgraded to a red after VAR Andre Marina advised Taylor to watch the monitor. Casemiro was visibly upset as he left the Old Trafford pitch and now faces missing Manchester United's next 4 games, as it is his second red card of the season, having been sent off against Crystal Palace earlier in the campaign. Erik ten Hag's side will now face their next 4 matches against Fulham at home, Newcastle away, Brentford at home and Everton at home without the 31-year-old. The Dutchman complained about what he considered inconsistent officiating after the goalless draw, as he was angered by the red card and some penalty calls. FIFA President Gianni Infantino is due to be re-elected for another 4-year term at FIFA's 73rd Congress in Rwanda on Thursday, March 16th. Infantino, 52, is the only candidate standing to lead the World Football governing body for what will be his 3rd term. The former UEFA General Secretary won the FIFA presidency in 2016, replacing Sepp Blatter after beating Asian Football Confederation President Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa of Bahrain in the final round of the election, after Jordan's Prince Ali bin Al Hussein and Frenchman Jerome Champagne had been eliminated. He, however, owed his candidacy to the fact that Europe's preferred candidate, his former boss and UEFA President Michel Platini, was banned from football along with Blatter for ethics violations. Both men denied wrongdoing and were acquitted of fraud charges by a Swiss court this year. Infantino was then re-elected unopposed, having won a 2nd term at FIFA's Paris Congress in 2019. Since taking over, he has overseen the expansion of the World Cup to 48 teams in 2026, which will be co-hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the United States. And that's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Do have a good night.
Now, just before the recap of the major stories, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira banknotes remain legal tender till December 31, 2023. The Apex Bank's Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Issa Abdul Mumin, disclosed this in a statement today. This is coming 10 days after the Supreme Court ruled that old Naira notes should coexist with new ones till the end of the year. The highest court of the land had on March 3 ordered that the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes remain valid till December 31, 2023. And now the main news again. INEC has said it has nothing to hide as it met with Labour Party's team. Inspector General of Police has ordered commissioners of police to hand over case files to INEC. We also told you that suspected Islamist militants have killed 19 people in another Eastern Congo village raid. And that's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thanks for being there.